Have you ever just felt out of sync with the world? Like your brain is buzzing along at 100 miles an hour while everyone else is just kind of cruising?
Maybe people have told you you're too intense or that you just think too much. And yeah, it can feel a little lonely sometimes. But what if I told you that's not a bug? What if it's a feature? Because that's exactly what the psychology says. These aren't just weird little habits. They are actual signs that your brain is hardwired for some serious speed and depth. So let's get into it. Let's decode what's really going on in that amazing mind of yours.
So, first things first, how can you tell if this is you? Well, the very first sign is something that honestly a lot of us feel kind of bad about.
You know the scene. You meet someone new, they say their name, and 30 seconds later, it's just gone, vanished. It feels like a total memory fail. But it's not. Your brain isn't failing. It's filtering. It's so busy processing faces, emotions, and the real connection that it decides an arbitrary name is, well, low priority data. The technical term for this is cognitive overload. Think about it. Your brain is juggling a dozen different thoughts at once. It literally doesn't have the bandwidth for stuff it considers meaningless. So forgetting a name isn't a sign of a bad memory at all. It's a sign of a mind that is incredibly busy. Okay, sign number 2. Be honest. Do you talk to yourself, especially when you're trying to figure something complicated out? It might feel a little odd, but what you're actually doing is firing up a seriously powerful tool for your brain. This whole process is called verbal reasoning. It's genius, really. You take a big, messy idea that's just swirling around in your head, you turn it into actual words, and suddenly, bam, it has structure. You can look at it, organize it, and find the solution way faster. It's not weird. It's one of the most efficient ways to solve a problem. Now let's dig into the next couple of signs. And this next one, it's a big one. It's something that so often gets mistaken for just plain old anxiety. Yeah, I'm talking to all the overthinkers out there. If you've heard that your whole life, listen up. Well, it can definitely feel like a nonstop worry fest. For a fast-moving brain, it's usually about getting the full picture. You're not just worrying, you're running simulations, exploring every angle, and connecting all the dots to see the entire chessboard, not just one piece. There's a name for this, too. It's called cognitive complexity or hyperconnectivity. It's this deep, fundamental need your brain has to go beyond the surface. It just refuses to accept the simple answer because it can see all the connections that other people miss. It has to know why. So let's just take a beat here. Is any of this ringing a bell? Are you starting to see these patterns in the way your own mind works? Let's keep going, because the next couple of signs are all about how this super fast brain of yours deals with the world around you, both the physical stuff and, other people. All right, I want you to picture your desk or your workspace. To someone else, does it look like total chaos, a beautiful disaster? But I bet your computer files are perfectly organized, or the big ideas in your head have a flawless structure. See, it's not a contradiction. It's all about priorities. This is something we call selective organization. Your brain knows, intuitively, that its high-level energy is precious. So why would it waste that firepower on tidying up papers when it could be designing a brilliant system or solving a massive problem? It's about tuning out the static to focus on what's actually important. And speaking of priorities, this next one can definitely cause a little social awkwardness. Do you find small talk to be just exhausting, physically draining? It can make you feel like you're antisocial, and sometimes other people might even think you're being arrogant. But the truth is much simpler. Your brain isn't trying to be rude. It's just bored out of its mind. It's built for that cognitive complexity we talked about. Forcing it to talk about the weather is like trying to drive a Ferrari in a school zone. It just wasn't built for that speed. It craves deep, meaty conversations and complex ideas. Okay, we're on the home stretch. Let's look at the last 2 signs. And these really get to the heart of how you take in new information and how you share your own. Does this little timeline look at all familiar to you? You find a new topic, anything, really, from beekeeping to quantum physics. And for the next 3 days, it is your entire world. You deep dive, you learn it all, you get the basics down. And then, just as quickly, you're on to the next obsession. Some people might call that being unfocused. It's not. What's happening here is that your brain's dopamine reward system is firing on all cylinders. For you, the very act of learning something new delivers a hit of pleasure.
Your brain isn't unfocused, it's a pure, unadulterated, knowledge-seeking missile, always looking for its next target. And for our final sign, think about that little pause you take before you speak. In a world that's all about instant reactions, that silence can be read as you being shy or maybe even a little arrogant. But inside that pause, your mind is doing some seriously heavy lifting.
You're engaging in something called cognitive reflection. You are running a lightning-fast mental check for truth, for logic, for consequences before you speak. You value getting it right more than you value being fast. And in a world where so many people speak first and think later, that is an incredible and incredibly rare trait to have.
So let's put it all together. When you look at all these signs, you realize they're not just random quirks. They're all interconnected. They're all part of the same operating system, a brain that is fundamentally built for speed and for depth.
So here's the big takeaway. It is time to reframe all of this. You're not forgetful, you're prioritizing what's meaningful. You're not overthinking, you're deep thinking. You're not messy, you're ruthlessly efficient. You're not impatient, you're craving depth. And you're not unfocused, you're just incredibly hungry for knowledge. Seeing how your mind is wired is one thing. The real game changer is when you stop fighting it, stop judging it, and start using it. It really is a kind of superpower. So the only real question left is, now that you know, what are you going to do with all that speed?